Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all of you lovely Spurs fans. We are enjoying a bit of Twitter Reacts today. We are going to be going through this 4-1 victory, taking a look at all the different people across the Spurs Twitter, see how they're celebrating, see how they're making up their weekends, because it has been a very good weekend for us Tottenham Hotspur fans. We got off started right with a great 4-1 win, popping the bubbles of West Ham, sending them back home all soapy-eyed, but also we've seen that Arsenal as well as some other clubs have been dropping some points this weekend. So it's been a very, very fun one for us. And we're going to bask in the glory of what Spurs Twitter can provide us in weekends like this. So everybody, if you can for us, if you're watching this back, smash that like button, get into the comments as well below. And thank you for joining us for this Twitter Reacts. It's going to be live as well, because I think we all kind of had things that we had to do right after basically the game yesterday. So again, maybe a opportune time to make this more of a live Twitter Reacts instead of a pre-recorded one. So hopefully you can enjoy it to the best of your abilities. But let's get quickly into the comments, and then we're going to get into this Twitter React. Stevie Frazier down below saying, boys, Spurs are cooking the spammers, blowing mud bubbles, Lego man crying, fail out, Feliba out for crunch games. I live for weekends like this. Come on, you Spurs. Dave, I think it was almost made better by the fact that Arsenal lost that game, and just everything has been made better by the other results on the Premier League weekend.
Yeah, the nice surprise yesterday when I got home from my sister's birthday party, Jack. I found out that Arsenal had lost 2-0 to Bournemouth. I was absolutely buzzing. Then I was a bit annoyed that Semenyo or Evan Nilsson wasn't on the score sheet for my fantasy football. But look, it's been an absolute great weekend for Tottenham Hotspur in terms of results. Arsenal dropping points. If Man City can also drop points against Wolves, maybe opens it up again if we can go on a little run. But look, the most important thing yesterday was looking after ourselves. Coming into the London Derby, I think a lot of Spurs fans were deflated off the back of that Brighton defeat, especially the manner of it and the capitulation in the second half. And we could have easily done that yesterday, but we went on and we absolutely smashed West Ham to pieces. And I'm buzzing about it because they were coming into this game a bit too confident and a bit too cocky, Jack, which I didn't like. It's Tottenham. We always beat Tottenham. We'll always take points off them. And, that lack of respect came back to bite them yesterday so bad that their fans left at 75 minutes. They went down to Greg's to get sausage roll. They couldn't bear watching it anymore. And then also Kudus tapped out early, which seems to be a recurring theme when teams come up against Tottenham Hotspur. When they're getting railroaded like that, some of the opposition players look for an easy out. So it goes to show how good Ange ball can be if implemented correctly by the players on the pitch.
Ange ball is such a fun party that it makes other people want to quit the party. They eventually just want to show themselves out. They want to get out of there early so that they can beat the traffic. It was that miserable for the West Ham fans as well as some of the West Ham players in the case of Mohamed Kudus. But you're exactly right, Stevie Frazier. It's just a great weekend. We're going to be blowing our own bubbles. We're going to be blowing our own bubbles of satisfaction after a 4-1 win, popping the bubbles for the champagne, blowing mud bubbles, like you say, on those West Ham fans. And hopefully you got the spam out and started slapping that around last night. But big up to you, Stevie. MV Joker Davis saying, and Jouters, shush. Big up to you, Edward. Good to see you in the house. We have Kev Williams saying, David Jack, absolute wet legends. You're the legend, Kevin. Good to see you with us. DB, good to see you as well. Another legend in the chat. Spurs GC TV as well. Afternoon, David Jack. Come on, you Spurs. Good to see you both. Really appreciate you supporting the channel. And it's Kev Williams saying West Ham fans were absolutely devastated after the boys took them apart on the pitch. I mean, Dave, it was like kind of almost like finding a rare animal or something like that. There were no fans left in the stadium. You'd actually be hard pressed in order to even see a West Ham fan by the 70th minute.
Jack, I think there was more people at my sister's birthday party yesterday, and that was just me, my family, and a fella. You know what I mean? Then there was West Ham fans come 75 minutes yesterday, which was absolutely great to see. And if anyone's seen the footage after the game of if Tottenham, the chorus of West Ham get battered everywhere they go. West Ham get battered everywhere they go. It was absolutely spine-tingling, and that's when Spurs fans are at their best. And look, they like blowing bubbles, Jack. We like drinking bubbles after a 4-1 win. That's why there's levels to this game.
I think they, in fact, were just trying to beat the opportunity to have to go through that, basically. They wanted to make sure they got out of the stadium before they really started hearing those chants and those songs from the Spurs fans. And I guess they just didn't want to bear it. They've had it happen to them so many times in their history that they knew what was coming. They knew that the chants were going to be coming very, very quickly and very loud. So they ended up getting out of there just in time. But it did feel like, there was probably more people out on the street at 4 a.m. whenever I was watching that game than there were actually West Ham fans in the stadium at that stage. Good to see you, though, Kev Williams, and good to see you, Berbatov. Berbatov's halftime smoke. They said they left to go find Lanzini. They definitely needed Lanzini at that
Yeah.
stage to try to rescue something. Dark Sun G saying, "Come on, you Spurs. Happy that the Gooners lost Saliba and lost 2-0. Laugh my ass off." Iriola doing a job for us, Dark Sun G. Normally, when they come up against Bournemouth, I really have no hope of anything going well for us because I feel like Arsenal have absolutely destroyed Bournemouth in the past when they've gone down there. So it did come as a big surprise to me. And Dark Sun G as well. I kind of was sort of on the way to go do something, go meet up with a friend for a run. And I did see the red card happen right as I was about to get in the car. And in kind of true, sort of logical, kind of, balanced fashion, normally in that situation, I would probably cancel the plans, want to watch the game and everything. But I did decide, you know what, I'm going to turn this off, going to see if they can surprise me later with a nice result, that I can look back on and feel happy about. And they did. Bournemouth did do the job because, as you know, sometimes when I do feel like I'm watching Arsenal, it's a very kind of mixed bag of either I'm their good luck charm or I'm their bad luck charm. And it just sometimes, I don't like taking that risk, by sticking through it. So I decided to just see what Bournemouth could do while I wasn't watching, and they were able to get it done, Dark Sun G. And also great to see Saliba out for more than one game as well, right? He's going to be suspended for the Liverpool match against your outlads team, against your dad's team. But another thing to mention too with Arsenal is just at this stage, they've been mentioning being, kind of the victims of referee corruption, so much. At this point in time, I mean, you can't pick up that many red cards at this stage of the season and really expect it to be like corruption. You got to start cutting out these red cards. And yeah, and it's just pretty funny for them to still feel like that there's some agenda or there's some sort of agenda against them, that the referees are coming after them, because at this point they're picking up a red card, it feels like, every game.
Look, they're just embarrassing, it seems like they're picking up a red card every game, but that's because they're bending the rules. They were told before the season starts, you cannot kick away a ball to slow down play to allow yourself to get back and get set. Declan Rice done that, straight red, deservedly. Off you go. Stop crying about it. Yesterday, Saliba, it was a straight red. He denied Evan Nilsson getting in behind for a goal scoring opportunity. It's the rules of the game. It's not our fault that they're too petulant and that they can't fit within them rules. That's on them. Second of all, they have the fourth or fifth best Spanish manager in the Premier League. You've got Unai Emery, Iriola, Maresca, Guardiola, and then you've got Arteta. So, fuck them. I don't care. Stop making excuses. Their football has been turgid for quite some time under Mikel Arteta, and now it's coming back to haunt them.
Also, Dark Sun G, we can show that we can win with a red card, while the Gooners are showing it that it's very difficult for them to have to win with a red card in their situation. But Gooners, he's saying 3 red cards in 8 games. They're a dirty side. The dirty side is back. Yeah, that's the thing, right? They're trying to, embrace sort of this David Moyes-esque era. He at one point was copying Pep Guardiola, Mikel Arteta, and now I feel like he's copying David Moyes, Dark Sun G. He's like copying Jose Mourinho. He's trying to go for these dirty sort of dark arts tactics that's starting to cut it back against them. And I think another thing about it too is that now that they are picking up these red cards and they're finding themselves on the back foot, they've been playing so conservative, so defensive of late, that I think they are finding it hard to actually create chances on a regular basis to try to actually see out and win these games. I think they're finding it very difficult to do that with 10 men. So they do have to maybe reconsider things about, whether they want to go through this dark arts approach, because it might be hindering them. But no need for me to give them any suggestions. I'm happy on the trail and the trajectory that they're headed.
Well, 2 things on that, Dermot. I'm live. If you're watching, Dermot, I'm live. Stop ringing me. But 2 things on that, Jack, just quickly. Look, first of all, their red card situation. If you don't want to adhere to the rules, that's on you. That's completely your fault. But, maybe change the way you approach playing with 10 men, like we do. We don't come out complaining after being down to 10 men because we just go out and win games like we've seen this season. That's how you go and do it. There's a way of playing when you're down to 10 men. Second of all, I understand that they're more than blaming the referees, because the referees and the VAR helped them last year in terms of, getting them into a league title with some of the decisions they were getting that other clubs were not getting. So most of the clubs have called for consistency from the referees. We're starting to see that now, and Arsenal aren't getting the benefit of the doubt, so unlucky.
Yeah,
They're
they're
not.
finding
They're
it
not the
difficult.
chosen ones to get in the Premier League title race with Man City. Liverpool are this year, so they'll get all the rub of the green this year.
Finding it difficult for decisions going against them instead of for them, I guess, now, Dark Sun G. And I guess they're going to have to eventually get used to it. But he also says no Saliba, Odegaard, Saka, Gooners, then lose. Overrated team. I mean, are they very reliant on such players, Dave? You know, Bukayo Saka, Martin Odegaard, Saliba. In the case of Odegaard, that's the one that I found really interesting was that the moment that they lost a player like him, they completely changed tactics and they completely changed to a whole new style of play as if Martin Odegaard is supposed to be, you know, the most important player in their team. And I guess I never realized that he was. And this is me being really serious, not even trying to be facetious or anything, but it did surprise me that they lose just one player and then all of a sudden they feel like they have to abandon everything that they were working on before and just scrap it up and work on an entirely new system, a new way of playing. And I'm not even sure if Ange Postecoglou would ever do that, and let alone if he even did lose a Maddison or players like that, you know, that are central to the creativity. We know that he would still try to persist with sort of the same type of tactics and the same sort of manner of playing. Whereas with Arteta, he loses one player and he completely scraps it and he completely goes for something different, which I think at first, you know, was working for them. But now I don't know if it exactly is. And losing Saka as well is shown to be very, very hurtful to them. But yeah, they're
Dude,
showing to be very reliant, and they are maybe now with how much praise they were being given at one point this year, Dark Sun G. They are kind of looking like a bit of an overrated team.
look, that's why you see Saka limping everywhere. Because he's always injured because they rely on him so much. He's playing every single game for them, and that's why you hear Arsenal fans moaning about it and stuff. But also, and I've said this quite some time, as a player, Arteta, he got in a load of young players who were hungry to sort of make it at that level and try and bring success. But now that they're a couple of years older and down the line, there's only so long Arteta's weird methods are going to work before they start turning around and going, hang on, can't listen to this idiot anymore. You know what I mean? And I think that's what's happening personally.
Yeah. And Fat Tony. But yeah, I think they're looking like a very overrated team at this point. Dark Sun G, really appreciate your support today, my man. Fat Tony saying, show us Kulu's fancy footwork in the midfield with Dancy Queen playing in the background. I wish we could, Fat Tony, but if there is a tweet out there that does do that for us, I would love to put it up on screen. Good to see you in the house, though. We also have Ed Sweeting in here saying, pick up Dave and Jack, and West Ham have absolutely had their bubble burst on their season prospects, hoping that Chelsea lose later and all our London rivals will have 0 points this weekend. Wouldn't that be sweet? Ed Sweeting, absolutely gorgeous to hear that and think about that. K32 saying you have to feel sorry for the Goons. I don't think anybody's feeling sorry for them at the moment, K32. Kev Williams saying, I honestly thought I could see tears in Arteta's eyes yesterday. The Gooners were so gutted that they were. THFC till I die. He's in the house saying, we are the mighty Spurs. Good to see you, Dermot. Good to see you joining us, my friend. And we also have George Kadaris as well. Big up to El Dante. El Dante, member for 2 months. As a Flat Cap member, saying, Deki love, Sweden love. What a guy. Come on, you Spurs. Good wishes to all. I think there's going to be a lot of Deki praise in this one, El Dante.
Um, Apology forms, maybe, Jack. I think people forget, that a lot of them didn't like Kulusevski. A lot of them wanted him to be sold. A lot of them called him useless, no end product, a donkey, too slow to play at this level, etc. So if there's apology forms for Lo Celso, Eric Dyer, Ben Davies, and Brennan Johnson, well, then I'm going to have to upload some for Kulusevski.
Dave, you got to get on that administration work. You got to start doing that paperwork. Get the apology forms going. Dave's asking for apology forms. Everybody, get the pens out. Get the paper out. Good to see you as well, Artist T. On to Thursday. Yes, exactly right. We're on to our next Europa League game, and I'm looking forward to it. Azad Alkmaar, Dirty Sanchez is in the house. Good to see you. Looper Cal is in here as well. Appreciate your support. And George Kadar saying, now Spurs need to keep these performances up. No more Jackal and Hyde. Yeah, fair play. Dark Sun G saying, did you see the Gooner fans' reaction? Laughed my ass off. They are fuming and with rage. I didn't get to see all of the Gooner reactions. I was listening to a little bit of Talk Sport yesterday, and you could see that actually a lot of them were starting to turn on Arteta again. I didn't see that many complaints actually about the decision for the red card. It was kind of more kind of the decisions Arteta made, with the substitutions and whatnot. I saw them fuming about. I do have an Arsenal friend though, and he did say that it was a soft red card, which I thought was a little bit of a, just I don't know. At
So
this point,
biased.
I just you can't take them that seriously, can you, Dark G? You know, when you have an Arsenal friend, you know, and they say, "Oh, conspiracy against us," that sort of thing, you kind of just chuckle and laugh, you know, with them, you know, because you don't really take them seriously when they're saying things like that.
I mean, but who did Arsenal fans want them to book? Don Robbie, you know,
I think they just wanted Saliba to get
Kelechi,
away with it. I think that's
no,
what they
Lee
thought. I think
Judge's type. Who did they want him to book? It was Saliba, the one that reached out and grabbed it, grabbed the striker back and pulled him down when he was through on goal. Who did they want him to book? I don't understand it.
not only a grab, but then he also intentionally tripped over him then afterwards. Like it very much was an intentional, I'm going to bring you down to the ground. And he tried
Yeah.
to make it look relatively clever, Saliba, but, you know, wasn't really in a position where, you know, the referee is going to see that in any other way. And the referee at first, you know, wanted to give it just as a yellow because, as we know, Dark Sun G, the referees, as Dave has said, you know, are in fact pretty kind to them on majority of the occasions. And this time around, the VAR just had to step in and do the right job. And big up to that VAR. Hopefully, we can get them for some of our games, Dark Sun G, because they seem to be making the right decisions.
K32 says you have an Arsenal friend, Jack. Shame on you.
Yeah, that's it's pretty bad form on my part, Kate. I don't have as you know maybe clean of a life as you do. You know, over with Jimbo and your perfect Spurs world. I
No,
wish maybe I was
K32.
a
K32.
wish I was around you guys a bit more often, Kate. But sadly, you know, I do have to, you know, walk out there into the scary, scary world of Arsenal fans, Chelsea fans, and have to make friends with any sort of football fan. It's kind of hard over here in the US. You end up just making friends with anybody that's a football fan. You can't pick and choose like you guys can over in the UK. You just kind of take what you can get. It's a big up to you, Kate, and good to see you. Dark Sun G with all the support as well. And I think the Gooner reactions, from what I could tell, were more in frustration with Arteta than they really were about the decision made against them. But I did run into, like I said, one Arsenal fan that seemed to think the decision was a little messed up, and I just had to laugh. I just had to just sort of, you know, kind of chuckle to myself and not take it too seriously because I could tell they weren't being a serious person. So big up to you, Dark Sun G, and really appreciate your support. But let's get into this, everybody. If you can for us, smash that like button. Do get into the comments. Let us know some of your favorite tweets as we get through this. But we're starting off first with Big John Bass saying train updated with Kudus in the first class seat. Dave, can you see that there with Kudus on top of the Ange train, the Ange Express?
Yeah. Do you know what? The celebration really got to me when I don't know why, but it was just almost like sat down so arrogant and cocky, like, oh, this is my stadium. West Ham, we own this stadium. Well, it's come back to bite him. Take a seat on the Ange train. You know what I mean? In fact, you know, Jack, he went and took a seat in the dressing room because he tapped out early. So, you know, at least he's consistent.
And good to see you, Wayne Bonner. Good to see you. The perfect match.
Big
Kate's
up
in the
Rayman
house.
as well. He was at the
And
stadium yesterday for the first time. Hopefully, he enjoyed it.
yeah, Rain Man, absolute legend. Howdy, folks. Good visit to the stadium yesterday. I'm glad that it was a good visit. Definitely was a perfect game to go to. What a perfect game to go to. I bet you had a wonderful time and start off the weekend in the right way. We have Wheelsy saying donut videos have returned yet again. Up the Spurs. Looking good in that donut video there. And probably enjoying the win to the best of his ability. Big up to the Wheelsy. Zeus saying, does this then does this then getting sent off as genuine? Doing this then and getting sent off is genuinely hilarious. I think it's his signature celebration. It's some sort of like Humpty Dumpty kind of like on the wall type celebration, but it did come back to haunt him and it did come back to embarrass him. Luca THFC saying Saliba has no more red cards, has more red cards than our aggressive Romero has bookings.
I mean, there's a conversation to be had then amongst the Arsenal fan base, isn't there, Jack? You know, is he too aggressive? Does he need to tone it down a little? Does he need to relax?
Guess it's a conversation that they're not ready to have, though,
Or
Dave.
is Romero a better defender than Saliba then, Jack? You would take it. You know, is Romero better at reading the game, timing his tackles, stuff like that, if he's not getting booked as much?
Maybe they're just maybe K32. I know you were joking. I absolutely love it, my friend. Appreciate it. Maybe Dave, they're just not ready for that conversation, and perhaps Romero's nowhere near as reckless. Big John Bass saying this guy has been superb again today. I was really wrong about him. I think there is going to be some Solanke praise that will go through today. A lot of people seem to really enjoy his performance despite not picking up a goal. Pedro Porro saying, North London, we missed you. Well, North London is certainly ours after a win like that. And also, it's good to see that Spurs can dominate the east side of London as well, where West Ham are.
No, it is. It's absolutely great to see that Jack, we're the only team in London. Like, without us, there would be no rivalries. They'd all be sitting around the campfire singing songs, together. They're absolutely embarrassing the way the fans go on with each other from Chelsea, Arsenal, West Ham and stuff like that. It's absolutely embarrassing. But do you know what? Pedro Porro's pissing me off a little. That goal yesterday, there was a warning sign 2 minutes before that from Kudus. Vicario pulled off a great save, and then it just happened again 2 minutes later. Defensively, he needs to switch on a little bit.
Yeah. And Tyrese saying, Brennan Johnson Hive, we had a great run. It was a good run, Dave. Brennan Johnson's goal scoring streak has sadly come to an end, but I think people can look back on it with a smile and can look back on it as a really good time to see a guy coming through and see a guy stepping up, when we needed him most. Brennan Johnson certainly did that. And let's hope we can go on another goal scoring streak.
Do you know what I found hilarious yesterday? I think there was a chance right at the end, and you could see he really wanted to keep that streak going, because when he missed it, he was going berserk. It's like, we're 4-1 up, Johnson. Calm down. Relax a little, kid. But you know what? He had another great opportunity with his head before that as well earlier on in the game, where he could have scored. And maybe in a bit an area of the game, maybe he might want to work on a little bit. Coming in at that back post, you are going to have to be strong in the air and win some headers. But what I will say to him, Jack, is he stepped up when Son was out. That's what I always ask for. Who's going to put their head above the parapet when our best players are out? He done that. And look, he didn't have a bad game yesterday. And hopefully he can pick it up again, bag one against Alkmaar or Palace.
Gonna see if I can for you here. Mark, good to see you in the house. Mark, hopefully you're keeping well, my friend. He's saying, hey, Dave and Jack, could you put the text on tweets in focus, hard on the old eyes? I think what you mean by that is, like, can I zoom in maybe a little bit for you? I'm gonna try and see if it works out, but hopefully, I'm not sure. I think the margins of kind of how this screen that we set up and everything is for a certain sort of type of sizing. So maybe for next time, I could try to make it a little bit bigger for you, Mark, for the next time we break this down. But I'm not sure if I can do this live right in front of you at the moment, unfortunately. But really appreciate you tuning in, and thanks for joining us, Mark, as always. And thanks for being a member of the Mark Army. Artist T saying, I wonder if Ange has regrets about bringing back Timo. He would have been better off on that Celtic team with Ange. Maybe he would have been better for Celtic and not as much the Spurs team. But Berbatos halftime smoke, good to see you. Sebastian F is in the house as well. Good to see you. The Leftovers has joined us. Really appreciate you. And the one and only Wayne Bonner. Good to see you, Wayne Bonner. Poor old Gooners. The wet spam keeper was dodgier than the Delboy deal. Good performance yesterday. Kulu was my man of the match. The spam fans went quiet in the pub when we equalized. I'm glad they did, Wayne. I'm pretty sure he was giving them an earful.
They knew what was coming. That's why.
They knew Wayne Bonner was coming. That's what they knew. They knew Wayne Bonner was going to be after them that evening. Big up to you, Wayne. Hopefully you're doing okay. Patty Power saying, it's been a long time since I've seen a head loss so spectacular as Mohamed Kudus versus Tottenham. I mean, Dave, it was a bit of a head loss from Mohamed Kudus. He just didn't want to be there anymore.
Jack, honestly, I thought I was back in 1995 playing Street Fighter again on the Nintendo. It was absolutely embarrassing. He completely lost, but what annoyed me is, he had about four or five stamps on Van de Ven. Van de Ven gets up, react. He gets booked for his reaction, by the way, which I think is a bit sus from the referee. But, he proceeded to do Kulu. Then he went and done Papa Matasar. But I think the part I loved most about it, being quite frank, probably pathetic of me, just having Richarlison shithousery back. Just running in, putting himself to the ground, rolling around, trying to draw some shithousery, cards and stuff. It was absolutely brilliant. But no, Mohamed Kudus, he absolutely lost it. And do you know what, Jack? This is the thing, when you're chasing around the ball like we make teams do for long periods of the game, and you're so far out of the game, at some point you're going to lose your head and make a reckless challenge. And that's the result of it. It's not the first time we've seen that this season.
No, it isn't. Ollie Thomas saying, since when did Kulusevski become the best center mid in the league? Well, very recently, and hopefully he can stay that way. Troll Football saying, West Ham fans sunk faster than the Titanic. West Ham versus Tottenham in the first half. West Ham versus Tottenham in the second half turned into a toy hammers. That's exactly right. Hugo saying the Kulusevski 24-25 comp coming tomorrow will feed families. Dave, is that what you're going to be spending your evening with?
To be honest with you, Jack, I already have my own. I look back on it every evening before I go to bed. After each game, I pull out his best highlights and I just sit there and feast on it. And I just say to him, Kulu, the world just doesn't know yet They just don't know. They just can't see what me and El Dante see. But look, it's definitely. I think it should come with an over 18s warning, sort of. Coming with it, because it is stiffy material. You know, the guy, even that back heel yesterday from the goal we didn't score, that back heel, just the way he plays, it's fantastic. It's like Ronaldinho-esque.
And then Nabil N17 saying, me walking into work in East London Monday morning.
I was Brad Matthews walking home last night.
Oh yeah, I bet he was just being bottles of beer being chucked at him, leftovers being thrown his way, and he was just soaking it all in, wasn't he? Big up to Nabil and big up to our man Brad Matthews. Jamie O'Hara saying, Irons, Irons, West Ham get battered everywhere they go. Big up to Jamie. Absolutely love that. He's enjoying
Come
it.
on, Jamie.
Even if he might not, enjoy his stuff on Talk Sport, he is a true Spurs fan representing us on the platform, and he's definitely going to be giving the West Ham fans an earful, that's for sure. Carly saying these divas, that is a bit of a diva pairing, sitting on the bench there, Dave.
Yeah, look, I think that was the face I seen yesterday after halftime when Maddison came back and sat on the bench, and I was, oh, he looks a bit scorny there. And look, he didn't look too happy whatsoever, but I think the fact that we went on to win 4-1, I think it's very hard for him to go and knock on Ange Postecoglou's door today and say, why did you take me off, and basically have a hissy fit. Ange got it right at the end of the day. But I think with James Maddison, don't get me wrong, he's had a tough time at Tottenham with his injury, and I think going forward we are starting to see him get back to his best and what we bought him for. But with the Postecoglou system, unfortunately, James Maddison has to bring more in terms of defensively, mucking in when the going gets tough. And ultimately, I think that's why he came off yesterday at half-time to bring Papa Matasara in, was because when the going got tough against Brighton, Maddison didn't really muck in. And look, it's not his game, but is that why he's being left out of the England squad? Is that partly why he's being left out of the England squad? And at this level, you have to be able to do both facets of the game. And there's no excuse, because Kulusevski is, 3, 4, 5 years younger than Maddison. And he does both sides of the game. And that's why he stayed on yesterday. And Maddison came off. So I think Maddison is probably finding it hard right now. He came to Tottenham with a huge reputation within England. And since he's come to Tottenham, it hasn't quite gone to plan. But when you make that step up from somewhere like Leicester to Tottenham Hotspur, you have to bring something different to your game. You have to be able to muck in, and I think that's what Maddison is struggling with right now.
Yeah. And it was a good person to be sitting next to in the case of Richarlison, if you want to be showing some frustration, because that guy's been frustrated not being on pitch for some time.
Well, Richarlison always looks like that. He's always pissed off when he's there.
He looks like the nicest guy off of the pitch, but the moment he steps onto the pitch, he looks like the most angry man out there. Blue Deer saying Brennan, still giving Kudus some stick, as he was walking off there. He really loves a bit of housery, and he loves kind of the fight and the battle. Brennan Johnson.
Do you know what? And there was another one against Man United for the Fernandes sending off. He was straight over in the referee, amping him up and stuff. I'm starting to like that side of his game. He's a little. Do you know what it is? He's like the quiet lad, but all of a sudden you're walking by and he says something you don't expect him to say, and you're just like, you little shithouse.
Yeah, and probably something quite clever as well. So you do leave yourself, being, kind of a bit caught off guard. You're exactly right. He does, he enjoys the housery. He enjoys getting into the mix. This is just a great one, Dave. It's all hail our Sonny, right?
What
praise the Lord, praise the Sonny.
What a performance yesterday. I'm actually going to give him both goals, to be brutally honest. If he doesn't shoot that one, we don't get that first goal for Sonny. But it was an all-around performance, Jack. I was watching it back last night and just seeing some of the outside of the foot passes, just seeing how nonchalant he done it. Because it's not expected from Son. Everyone's expecting Son to get on the ball, do 10 step-overs like he did for his goal. And that's what everyone's expecting. But no one expects him just to stand there, cocky, arrogant, outside the football around the corner. He done that a few times yesterday. He done it for Destiny Edozie, turned back, played in Basuma for his goal. And there was another one near the end of the game as well that led to a goal. But I did say, Jack, when we go on pre-season tour to Korea, the first few weeks of the season or the first few months of the season, he's not at it. He's tired. He's lethargic, left over from the tour. But if you go back and look at last time when he got back in around November, he hit the ground running, went on a purple patch, and I think we're going to see that from Sonny.
I wish I could put this as like my wallpaper or something like that,
Yeah.
behind my bed, or I wish I could put this as like my
But yeah, a
screensaver from
frame
my
for you
phone.
behind your setup.
It's just gorgeous. This needs to be turned into a poster of some kind, or you need to put that up in the Louvre. Jay Andrews saying, Sarr has really stepped up since his iffy start to the season and finish to last. I mean, Dave, would you agree with Jay Andrew that, Sarr has actually started to, look a lot better in the last couple of performances? He's been brilliant in the Europa League games, and now he's starting to show up in the Premier League games.
Yeah, he was brilliant in Europa Leagues yesterday when he came off the bench. He was absolutely brilliant. Some of the longer range passing he brought to the game, defensive stability, he was absolutely brilliant. But this is what we said of Papa Matasar. I thought maybe he was tired because the amount of games that started coming his way unexpectedly over the course of a close period of time, as well as flying out to AFCON. And since he got back to AFCON, from AFCON, he's sort of been off form a little bit, maybe a little bit tired, but we're starting to see him get back to his best now. And this is what I've always said about Sarr. A lot of people go he's sloppy in possession, which rightly so he has been. But I've seen enough from Papa Sarr in possession to know that if he can just bring all of his facets to the game together, we've got a really, really good midfielder there.
Yeah. Good to see you, Rudy Toot, in the house. Really appreciate you.
Big up, Rudy.
He's saying, big up all. No one else really went for Maddison when we brought him in. Not sure if he had a huge rep. And Leicester fans warned us he goes missing after injuries, which indeed he did. I think Maddison's kind of time here at Spurs is still a bit of a mixed bag. I think he's shown that he's been brilliant, and that we know he can be an amazing player. And then there are games where he does tend to disappear. I had felt like he played decently in that first half. I didn't think he actually really was much of an issue. It just felt
Yeah,
like maybe Ange Postecoglou
yeah.
saw something different or saw something that just needed to be addressed, and he felt like he needed to make a sacrifice of some kind. And Maddison happened to be the player that he felt like he was willing to sacrifice in order to fix something. But to be perfectly frank, Rudy, like I didn't actually think Maddison was really that much of the problem in the first half. I don't think he was nearly as good as Kulusevski in the first, but it's not like he was poor or anything. In fact, he was helping and creating some chances, and he plays a bit different to Kulusevski, where he does like to take sometimes maybe less of a direct approach. I think Maddison has a bit more kind of a flow to his game. He wants to kind of spray some passes about, wants to kind of really get his foot on the ball, whereas Kulusevski is kind of more of like a hammer, really, for lack of a better term. He's more like a pile driver just through the midfield, where you get it to him and he's just going to drive right through the whole thing, no matter what's in front of him. And Maddison operates a bit differently to that. And I think that's perfectly good, actually, and perfectly well and good. And I didn't think he really was that poor on the day. I thought he actually had a pretty good performance. And maybe just Ange Postecoglou needed to see something different in the case of Pop Mopsar.
Do you know what? I don't think I agree. I don't think Maddison came off because he was having a poor performance. I didn't really have a problem with his first half performance. He was trying, he was getting on the ball, trying to feed people and stuff like that. I had no problem with the first half performance. But I think we do have to understand that Postecoglou wanted to make a tactical change, and we have to understand why Maddison was the one sacrificed this. What Postecoglou done is he brought on Papa Matasar, and he got him to help Jared Adoji stem the flow of Jared Bowen, and he got Basuma out the other side to help Porro stem the flow of Kudus. Once we stemmed the flow, they had no outlet, and it was all about us going forward, picking them off. Postecoglou made that tactical change to allow for that. But the reason why Maddison came off is because he doesn't have that side to his game, and he will keep coming off if
Yeah.
he doesn't bring that side to his game in future. So I think I'm not going to slam him because it's not to do with his performance whatsoever. But it is important to recognize why he was brought off, and it's going to keep continuing if he doesn't bring it.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Rudy Toot, there is some, there have been some warnings, from Leicester fans and things like that, that to a degree maybe came true last season. But I think, Madison has had actually a really good start to this season. I
Mm,
think he's actually been pretty good so far this season. So we'll see how he can finish things off for us.
mm.
But big up to you, Rudy Toot. Good to see you in the house. Good to see as well, Artist T. Good to see Stefan. Good to see Berbatov's halftime smoke. He's also saying Sar has been making me eat some humble pie recently. Get the apology forms out, Berbatov. Dave is asking for them. Dark Sun G saying Johnson third time. This is Johnson's third time. I think maybe getting into some scuffles with people. He's saying
Yeah.
third time. First was with Cash, then was with Bruno, and now it's with Kudus. I mean, what you have to rate about it, Dark Sun G, is the fact that he's a guy that is willing to stick up for his teammates, because you need players like that in your side where, a bit of a fight happens or a bit of a handbags moment, comes out. You want to see, somebody that's willing to get into it. They're not afraid to say something to the opposition, or they're not afraid to stand up for their teammates and be there to be counted and to just be that sort of physical presence in those situations. He's willing to throw himself in there. And I think you have to rate that about him, because you need players like that in your team. Romero is one of them. I think Richarlison is one of them. Maybe Bentancur you could probably throw in there as well. Pedro Porro a little bit. And then I'd say Brennan Johnson happens to be one of them. But it's good, Dave. You want players like that can, have no fear at all of sticking up for their fellow teammates, and also just getting themselves in the mix like that.
Do you know what I like about it, Jack? Is I think the game's gone too nice now. You're seeing players hug each other before
Yeah.
on the pitch, staying out, asking each other how the family is off the pitch, as if they don't have the best of phones to be able to communicate with each other, and have each other's numbers. It's absolutely ridiculous. And even on the pitch, you're seeing players pull each other up, and it's just gone way too soft. And I like that from Brennan Johnson. He brings that spikiness, he brings that nastiness, and he sort of, by him doing that, it makes the other team get wound up and then bring that nastiness sort of, and makes them get a little bit reckless. But also, let's not forget Mope last year. He scored against us, and then Brennan Johnson went and scored, and then he's in the corner pretending to do this, taking the piss out of him and all with the dart celebration. So I absolutely love it from him. It's dark arch, Jack. It's winding up the opposition. And is there any coincidence that they're starting to pick up red cards against us because they can't control their anger?
Yeah, no, you're right though, that it's good to have people that just don't really care about the niceties or anything of the
Yeah.
game. They're competitive people. They want to win games. They don't really care about sort of the niceties and everything on the pitch. They're about being serious, and we get that with Brennan Johnson, and I really rate that about him, Dark Sun G. And I can tell that you do as well. I can tell that you do too, and I think it's good that Brennan Johnson has that in his game. K32 saying, Dave and Jack, you guys should consider doing some merchandise like t-shirts and mugs, etc., with your sayings. I think we should, K32, and it's something that we've been planning on trying to do at some stage. And I think at some point this season, we should be able to have that out for you guys. But I'm glad that you do have some interest in that, K32, and it would be wonderful to get that out for you guys. And we're willing to take any suggestions on any of the sayings or anything that you guys want to see on there, because what you guys want to be able to get, we should be able to try to provide, right? It's kind of what you guys want to see on the merchandise and what you guys want to see on the stuff. So be happy to provide that. Thank you, K32, and let us know if anybody else is interested in that sort of thing. Good to see you as well, though. I think Davo's in the house. Appreciate you, Davo. Thank you for the support. But let's keep this thing moving. We have Clara saying, hang it in the Louvre. Yeah, the step overs from Sonny, skipping past to Debo.
Speed, though.
Michael
it's the
Hamilton.
Speed that they're done, though, Jack. It's absolutely lightning quick. It's devastating.
No, and it's just knew it was going in the back of the net once he was one-on-one with Todibo like that. Michael Hamilton saying, it's funny how one-sided this rivalry is. The only time I think about West Ham is at kickoff when we play against them.
Yeah. You know what? It's true to a certain degree, Jack. That it's sort of like they're in London. It's a bit like Crystal Palace as well, innit? You only really mention about being a London derby the day of the game, to sort of get yourself up for it, because it's such a little man fixture. It's not like you're playing an Arsenal, a Chelsea, a Liverpool, or, you're playing little West Ham or Palace. And do you know what it is? It's like we just sort of laugh at them because they try so hard to beat us, to sack David Moyes. They said, we want Postecoglou ball, go and get a Celebratory. And it's even more defensive. He's the Spanish David Moyes. It's absolutely embarrassing. And then you see an idiots like this getting this on his jersey. I mean, we wouldn't sacrifice a Spurs jersey to even have something like that on it. You know what I mean? They're embarrassing. They really are an embarrassing.
He actually just bought this from the club shop as well. They have these on sale, pre-printed. He didn't even have to, get a custom print or anything. They actually have these right on sale, right at the front of the shop at West Ham. I also love the caption, another day, another what the F.
I even seen a TikTok yesterday, and it's like, they pulled up some old Danny Dyer stuff, and it's like, Tottenham away, let's have it.
Yeah.
And what I wanted to do was put up a picture of the empty away section there beside it and be like, Tottenham away, why didn't you show up?
Tottenham away, let's have it, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
El Dante saying Son was doing the FIFA step over speed boost, but for real. Yeah, I guess showing FIFA is realistic, isn't it, El Dante? THFC Micah saying, thank you for changing my life. I'm literally just Dejan Kulusevski. I think that's what Dave is feeling like right now with his man Dejan. We also have West Ham get battered everywhere they go, being sung in the stadium. jealous,
Great,
very jealous, very jealous.
great.
Exactly what. And Dave and I were able to participate in that for my first ever Spurs game. I was
Oh,
able to do that and sing those down the stairs and on our way out. It was absolutely glorious. BL saying if we criticize Ange's in-game management when we lose, how about give him some credit for the sub today? What an explosive second half this has been, and I think a lot of people have been saying that Ange did show some in-game management in this one. Barty saying Solanke's physical and technical performance was stunning. I thought he had a really good game, and I think what he is doing well is that he is someone that if he doesn't score, he can make up for it in other ways. He's not someone that's going to be entirely reliant on just grabbing the goals in order to make his performance look good. He can do other things that can make him feel like he had a good performance, such as, the hold up play, the way he facilitates and brings other into play, and also even just his work rate off of the ball is just so immense, and his pressing from the front is just so vital and crucial for the way that we want to try to press teams. I think he just does so many other things despite maybe not getting the goal. I think he still had, yeah, I agree, a very good performance.
do you know what? That's right. Dominic Solanke, his all-round game is so much better than what I first thought, in fairness to him. But I still have my concerns about the goals because they're not coming yet. But one thing I will caveat that with is if you keep playing this way, your goals will eventually come. So I'm going to give him another little while yet to see if he can start, putting in the goals for us.
Well, he's
But at
helping
the end of the day,
others.
he's creating anyway. So, creating the goal is just as good as scoring, I suppose.
He's helping others score, but he
Mm,
needs to find his own goals as well if he can, if those opportunities can arise for him, if he can get his own goals. But I've said that to you, Dave. It feels like he's the one that's creating the chances right now
yeah.
for others, and there aren't that many people that are creating chances for him. It feels like in these games, how many
Mm,
crosses are we still seeing go into the box? Not
yeah.
not that many, and also there aren't that many times where you see him being played in behind or anything like that when he is trying to make the run. It seems like he's the guy that's playing others in behind. He's the guy that's facilitating chances and moves for others. And you'd like to see it be a bit more balanced, but the way it's working right now, it's working for Spurs. You can't be too picky, I guess. Super Spurs saying this season, Spurs have faced 58 corners and conceded one. Spurs have faced hundreds of free kicks and conceded zero. Spurs have also haven't conceded a goal on the counter. This narrative that we are shit at defending is bogus. The goals have come from individual errors or ball watching. Would you agree with that, Dave?
I think to a large degree, I think they come down to individual errors, but it's been individual errors across the back line. With Doji, Van de Ven against Brighton, Romero, and Pedro Porro yesterday, and that's the biggest problem. But also with the corners, I know where he said we've only conceded one. We've been very vulnerable from corners, and eventually they're going to start stacking up. But I will say that's improving slightly. But look, like I've always maintained this, Jack. If we go and do what we done to teams yesterday, you're not going to concede as many at the back end. I've always maintained that, always.
El Dante
When
saying,
everyone, just
sorry.
quickly, when everyone was looking at the back line last year, I said to them, it's not the back line that needs improvement. You improve that forward line. A lot of the heat comes off the back line.
No, absolutely. El Dante saying, I really hope we don't just stop at 4 in some of these games. Could see the intensity lessen when we were at 4-1 up, but would have loved to see us go for more goals. Yeah, that ruthlessness of wanting to really demolish teams, but maybe in this game, yeah, they just kind of felt like the job was done, and we don't want that to creep into us too much, but it can be the case that once you get up by that many goals, it's kind of just whether someone is hungry enough to want to score more, and I guess they just maybe didn't have that in them. Um, Shrinkflation on the man of the match trophy, says Mark. Yeah, I guess so. Richarlison on Instagram, new season, same Richie. Thanks, bro. Richarlison taking the man of the match award away from
I'm the
Dejan
man.
Kulusevski. Zeus saying can't get over how good Kulusevski is. I think a lot of people can't, and we're still basking in how good he is. Fantasy Premier League, 4 goals for Spurs, but 0 goal involvements for this pair, Johnson owners and Solanke owners. Dave, unfortunate for any of the Solanke owners or Johnson owners in the fantasy league.
Yeah, very, very unfortunate. Fortunate for me, I don't have any of them in. I think I actually have Kulusevski, Son, and Porro. So, I haven't even checked my fantasy points, which I'm going to check shortly. But no doubt, they done me well yesterday.
And Davina saying, Heung-min's son, when you find out your goat still has it, the comeback. Indeed.
Uh, I just don't understand. Do you know what? I don't understand a lot of the criticism that comes Son's way at times. You know, he's our only legitimate world class devastating forward player, and as soon as he has a piss poor game, because we're so dependent on him, all the conversation, he's finished, he's lost half a yard, all these cliche things.
Yeah.
You know, it's absolutely madness. For a forward player, you don't really start, especially his son's caliber, you don't really start throwing them sort of lines out till he's 34, 35.
And I've also, even regardless of how good he is or how much quality he can still bring to that forward line, I've also said to you, and I'll make this point maybe a bit shorter than I have in the past, but I do feel like Spurs, maybe us fans as well as the club, have rewarded loyalty, before, where, players that like being here, players that seem to enjoy the
Yeah.
club, we've kept around for a long time, the Ben Davieses of the world, the Eric Dyers of the world. And a lot of people didn't seem that keen on getting rid of them, right, for a pretty significant amount of time. And I'm curious why the logic doesn't seem to apply to Sonny. It seems like with Sonny, we're very quick to, write him off and say he's done, he's past it, let's get rid. It's like, well, he's been probably one of the best servants of my lifetime at Spurs. So
Do you know what?
I'd be happy to keep him an extra year, even if maybe he is a little bit I don't think he's past it at all whatsoever. But even if he were, like, I'd be happy to keep him around as like an ambassador of the club, that sort of thing, for at least a year or two. Let him wind down his years at the club if he wants to. I think he deserves that. He's shown us enough service that we can do that. But I don't know, maybe that's a unnecessary argument or something, because
Oh,
that's what I brought up in the past.
I just wonder, do people say, "Oh, cash in on some because he actually has resale value compared to others?" But then that says everything about his time at Tottenham, right? How good he's been, Because with others, we all knew they had well, not everybody, but I did. You did, Jack. We all said they have very little resale value. We're not going to recoup much for a lot of the crap that we've had. In the end, we didn't really recoup a lot for a lot of the crap that we've sold. But when it comes to Sonny, it's like, oh, we got to cash in, we got to sell. But then if he has resale value, that shows how good he's been. Why would you cash in on him? I don't understand it.
I just think he could take up a very similar. I don't think he would. I think he'll probably, go off and enjoy his life, for a little bit after he retires. But I feel like there's nothing wrong with giving him something like a Michael Dawson type role at the club, a Ledley King type role at the club, of some type of or manner, if he wants that. But I'm not sure if he would. He's a talented guy, probably wants to, do more modeling or, have a family or something like that. But if he ever did want to do that, I'd be willing to give that to him. I think he deserves it. Dark Sun G saying, this is why we sold GLC to use Kulu in that role. Come on, you Spurs. Lo Celso, oh, geez, so glad to get rid of him. And so many players that we've gotten rid of, from Tanguy Ndombele to Ryan Sessegnon to so many that we got rid of. And I know you and I have taken a lot of, a lot of pride in actually the outgoings that we've seen happen under Ange Postecoglou and over the last year or so, Dark Sun G. Guys that have caused us a lot of annoyance and a lot of pain are finally gone from this club. And we get to see others now step in and thrive and show what we've been missing. And Kulusevski is absolutely doing that in the central role. Finally, we have what feels like a proper creative midfielder through there that can really, take apart teams.
No, 100%. I just feel so vindicated. I remember people were presenting me apology forms last year after one or two goals. And I said, look, come back to me when he's done in 7, 8 games, because you won't be, because he's not going to do it. He didn't. And I've took so much slack here after games about Kulu. I've said to people, look, get off Kulu's case. He's a much better player than what you think. You get a striker up there for him to be able to work off, it's going to be a different ball game altogether. So I feel vindicated there, Dark Sunji, not going to lie.
Prop Spurs saying, just to market Maddison off and Sar on as a tactical change from the manager, who allegedly is a pure ideologue who never makes tactical adjustments based on game state. Well, he just did yesterday, didn't he, Prop Spur? Maybe he's not going to get the praise he deserves. SW Spurs saying, Ange, who won't make changes, has moved Kulu central, which in turn has brought the best out of Brennan, which also means if we need to take a flair player off like Matters for something different like Pape, then he can. Not bad for an inflexible bloke dealing only in the pub leagues. Yeah, I guess so. ESPN UK saying Heung-min Son hitting 3 step overs to get past Debo before scoring versus West Ham. He has now reached 250 goal contributions for Tottenham. And also, let's remind you as well, I think he's the only non-UK player to be inside that top 10 as well
Great.
for Spurs, or even inside the top 5 as well. And I think he isn't he now like one of the most assists or something as well of any Spurs player in our history? The guy's just breaking records at this point. He's doing, like he said, maybe the other day, he's doing a bit of a Harry Kane, Sonny. He's starting off a little slow in the season, starting to cook now, breaking records as Kane used to as well. Just Sonny, world class player, isn't he?
Mhm.
Good to see that ESPN UK is showing him some praise. Jim Oso, Spurs saying Spurs win, West Ham lose, Newcastle lose, Arsenal lose. Ten Hag keeps his job for another week. Nice.
Oh, brilliant.
THFC Jackson saying Spurs didn't ruin my weekend. Kudus embarrassed himself. Arsenal getting what they deserve. Harry Kane hat trick. What a day! A lot of people seem to notice the Harry Kane hat trick and added that to some of the
Do you know,
enjoyment of the weekend. Jake saying that serotonin hit of your favorite team winning and your main rivals losing is simply unmatched. It's the great double combo, isn't it, Dave? It's like ice cream with a little bit of chocolate sauce.
no, it's absolutely brilliant, Jack. I just want to touch quickly on the Harry Kane thing because, when I was sitting here saying the club shouldn't have sold Harry Kane, we should have kept on to him. Everyone was going, "Oh, you're a Harry Kane fan, blah blah blah. You love him, Dave. You don't care what's best for Tottenham." I've seen more Spurs fans that said that to me out there tweeting about how great Harry Kane's been at Bayern Munich. I've watched them more out there than what I have.
Um, Owen THFC saying, can't believe we wasted 2.5 years using Kulusevski as a winger. What a midfielder he is, honestly. He's just tearing things apart and he's found his new role. Billy saying, another Kulu masterclass. Exactly. Get the dancing out, get it going. Michael
And the
Hamilton.
Hammer Time bands.
Yeah, I think it is. Michael Hamilton saying, well, that aged well. Tottenham 4-1 West Ham. Mohamed Kudus is the one West Ham player who can walk off the pitch with his head held high today. Yeah, that definitely aged very, very poorly. Axel THFC saying, throwback to when Tottenham won 3-0 despite an early red card. Dave, we're showing that we can win with a red card while other teams can't.
No, look, and I know a lot of people say, "Oh, how can you play like that with 10 men? You're asking to be bet." But sitting 10 men behind the ball is asking to be bet. Sometimes going and pressing the opposition and willing to outwork them and win the ball higher up the pitch, which means you have less players to play through and less part of the pitch to get up, can put you in good positions to go and win the game. And that's why, like, when people go, "Oh, Ange is wrong for doing it," no, he's not. I think he's the right approach. For me, when I play FIFA, when I play Football Manager and shit, that's exactly what I'll do. I'll send my team to go and play the exact same way and go and try and get results over the line. I've never believed in sitting 10 men behind the ball when you go to 10 men down, because all you're doing is just asking for the opposition to score on you.
Yeah.
You're sitting back and fighting the pressure.
Tobe saying West Ham could buy Erling Haaland and 3 to 4 games later, Antonio would have his place back. I've been saying that for a while now. Brianna saying, look at Brennan still trying to square up with Kudus and Cudi Romero yelling at him to stop. It's crazy when Cudi Romero has to get Brendan Johnson to calm down. So it just, Brendan Johnson might be the most he might be the most hungry to get into these situations, and even Romero is.
No, I love that from Brendan Johnson. He's just looking for someone to square up to. But do you know what I like about it as well? He keeps it going. And then he lashed out on Papa Matasar, and that's what ended up getting him sent off. So Johnson, when it actually all calmed down, Johnson went for Kudus again after West Ham players pulled him, and he kept it going. And we ended up benefiting from it because he lashed out at Sarr then and got the second, which was the second lash out, which was the straight red. So fair play to Johnson. Great shit house.
And look at it, too. He's taken on like 4 West Ham players at once here.
They've all pulled him away. It's calming down. Johnson's gone straight for him. Look at that. Let's keep it going.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. And even there though, Kudus, he almost swipes at Johnson there. There could have been like 4 red cards all in one sequence for Muhammad Kudus there, really losing his rag. B or D, sorry, Kulu goal, Basuma goal, West Ham own goal, Sonny goal, Kudus red. 3 points, get the Conceição memes out, start celebrating, get the cigars out. Natasha saying, you killed the man, but not the idea. Kaka regen.
Kaka. Do you know what a player Kaka was for AC Milan, especially prime AC Milan. What a player. Kulu, I think he's a throwback to them sort of players, Jack. Strong, powerful runner with the ball, bit of skill, bit of flair about him. Everyone almost thinks when you're a big man in football, you're a bit of a donkey, but that's not the case. I've seen some big guys, Zinedine Zidane, Kaka, some tall, big guys that are beautiful feet, elegant to watch. Kulu's starting to get like that.
Good to see Edward in the house. Really appreciate you, Edward. And also, by the way, everybody, I'm going to put the link in right now, but in about 10 to 15 minutes time, we are going to be over on that Big Up Network, and we're going to be
Yeah,
doing a Chelsea versus Liverpool hate along, watch along. So please join us for that. I'm putting in the link here right now for you guys, and we'd really appreciate if you could come join us for that, hang out with us, come on screen, have a chat, and just sort of enjoy a bit of a hate along with Chelsea. So please, everybody, come join us for that. We'd be very appreciative of it. Courtney saying, "Come on, you Spurs." There he is, Big Peter.
Do you know what? I'll always love that guy for that goal against Man City for the Champions League. I'll always love him for that.
Also,
By the way, what a personality. If people haven't, check out the Peter Crouch podcast, but also the therapy Crouch that he does with his missus. It's absolute gold.
he's a great presenter, and he's just a great personality. Ayudi saying Cootie is a changed man. I think they're talking about him trying to calm down Brennan Johnson here in this situation. Yeah, he's now become the mediator. Cootie, he's no longer the aggressor. He's become the mediator. Big Pop Matasar saying, "Big performance today. Let's go." Pop Matasar had a wonderful performance. Good to see him enjoying that. Same Radu, same. He's just aghast by how good Sonny is here, Dave.
Yeah, he can't believe it. You know, Dragoson understands if your son's running at you, and he's probably been on the receiving end of it in training, to be brutally honest, and he's doing 3-step overs like that, and you don't know what way he's going to go.
Yeah.
And if you actually look at it, I think he moved the ball with his left, touched it back with his right after, and he sent it like, defenders like jellies, and he broke to Debo's ankles. It's impossible to stop.
Billy saying Kulusevski currently in the Kane-esque zone of being so good that all of our other players look shit in comparison. Maybe so. Patty Power saying, "Love these new rules where you can deliberately kick an opponent twice, slap them in the face, and then slap another opponent in the face, and it's still only a yellow card." Ridiculous that the referee still kept him on after that. And also gave Van de Ven a yellow card, as if that made any sense. No context, Tottenham.
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at the 2 feet used there as well.
On to the left,
and then with the other. Oh, it's beautiful.
Just dispatches it with ease after that.
So quick, and it's just so fluid. It's unbelievable. Oh, and do you know what I love about? I've seen wingers try to do that at Tottenham and fall over themselves. So shows we're starting to go into the right direction.
Carly saying everyone needs a support pigeon. Richarlison going down here is classic. Richarlison going down in the exact same way Van de Ven does. Everyone needs a support man. Adam saying everyone's eating tonight. Yep, definitely everyone's eating after that with those player ratings. That's for sure. And then also, we are the Paxton saying Tottenham have played 8, conceded 8. Narrative is Spurs are terrible at the back. Ange needs to be more pragmatic. Arsenal played 8, conceded 8. Narrative, Arsenal are the best defense in the league. Arteta is a genius. I figured Darks on G would probably like that one if he saw this.
What I would say is I think they're about 2 weeks too late, Jack. I think we had this that conversation a couple of weeks ago in the pre-match build-up about the narrative around, us having to be more pragmatic and stuff like that, because I think at the time, we had conceded 5 and Arsenal had conceded 5. I think Liverpool were the only team to concede less than us, but yet we're pragmatic, or we're too gung-ho and everything else.
And Moonchild saying, "Is the sun bothering you, my king?" We'll do anything for our players. THFC Micah saying, "Sun breezing past his defender with ease." Put it in the Louvre, hang it in the Louvre. Everyone's crying tears of joy seeing it. Oh, this one was great, Dave. I figured you liked this. Ron saying Tottenham battered West Ham. Arsenal lost. Harry Kane scored a hat trick.
It's a good day to me.
You know what? I'm so glad I don't have to watch them smile and laugh and stuff like that this season and have a good time and enjoy themselves, AFTV will be back restored to what I used to love watching after when they lost.
And good to see you, Shemi Tan. Good to see you in the house. Good to see Peter in the house as well. Really appreciate your guys' support. Good to see you, Andy Yang, as well. Good to see you, Andy Yang 135. And me, Mourinho, saying, "How are we doing, boss? Bellissimo." There's Paratici, just enjoying his work in front of him. All the great, beautiful players that he's brought to this club. Aaron Lennon.
Look at the players he's brought there. Some fraud he is.
Yeah, fraud. Fraud Paratici. Aaron Lennon saying, "What a lovely goal that is. Great play from Son, and Udogie, and Basuma." Aaron Lennon certainly enjoying yesterday. Alex saying, "Vicario has more caps than Mark Noble." The Spurs Express saying no goal or assist today, but those who watch will know how strong of a performance he put in. Brilliant all-around player. I felt the same way. I felt like it was still a really strong performance. Spurs pictures that go hard, Dave.
Yeah, that's definitely a screensaver, I think, Jack. That's definitely screensaver worthy. That's a great picture.
That was Dave walking into the takeaway yesterday.
Canvas, actually, Jack. That would be.
That was Dave walking into the Indian takeaway as he was picking up his dinner reward.
That was me. That was me, Jack, walking into the birthday party yesterday. Get off me. Don't speak to me.
This picture, are you kidding me? Frame it now. Just so much Spurs love happening in this photo here. Just a great little sandwich of Spurs players. Tyree saying Dejan Kulusevski for Tottenham since moving into midfield.
Do you know, I absolutely love that picture. Maradona, what a player, what a character, and to see him in a Spurs jersey, even though he's never played for Tottenham, absolutely great, iconic.
Well, it just shows how influential Spurs are, how massive we are that we can get Maradona to wear a Spurs kit.
Was it his?
Yeah, Ozzy Ardiles got him to come over for a charity match.
Yeah.
Paddy Power saying Spurs have scored more goals than these fans left away, and the fans left away in the away end. Great one for Paddy Power. Kane from the lane saying we'll go unnoticed without the goals or assists, but a brilliant performance from the big Dom today. I completely agree with that. Kayla7 saying doing this at the age of 32, coming off a hamstring injury is just crazy. The weaving in and out, the dribbling of the ball. He's absolutely incredible. World class always. I mean, just absolutely destroying Todibo here. And I think he's just showing how good he can be and how good we know he is. SVR saying they were fighting on the pitch and the ones on the bench were giggling about it. He probably just saw some funny replays of Richarlison diving to the ground there.
That's what they're all giggling at, because he's probably he's known for it, Jack. How many times do we laugh at him the way he goes down? And well done, Richie. That's great, Showser. He's known for it. As soon as they've seen Richarlison go in like that, they've all sat there having a great giggle. It's hilarious.
Peter saying Ange cooking 3 or more and the team will be complete. I completely agree with you there, Peter. Spurs Diehards is in the house. Good to see you, Adrian Scirocco. Hopefully you're all right, my friend. Yep. A regular gamer has joined us as well. Kulu Donna. Exactly right, Kulu Donna. Oh, I love that. Yeah. And Andy Yang saying Deki. You guys should see how well he works with Gyökeres and Isak in the national team. His work rate is amazing. He's turning into a captain, really. He's just turning into a complete player at the moment. Andy, really appreciate you. Dave, that's what I thought you'd appreciate. Match of the day tonight.
It was certainly, do you know what? I was watching Match of the Day last night. I felt like doing it. I'm not going to lie. We were just purring at points.
Kudus versus Spurs.
Oh, I've seen that, yeah. It's hilarious. Wait till the cops come in. He starts smacking, then whoever's left, he just goes around and smacks them as well. It's hilarious.
When did the police come? Had a slap as well. Kudus, no one could stop him. He just had to get everyone. Billy saying big win against that lot and wildly successful hate watch. Happy effing Saturday. No, get the dancing out. Get the hammer time out, everybody.
When Tottenham hits you so hard to make West Ham go, oh my Lord.
Carly saying absolutely love this from Brendan. I think it was just, seeing him go after Kudus there. And like I said, he took on like 4 West Ham players all at once. Absolutely insane of the man. Abby saying, I haven't moved on. What a beautiful goal. What an angle here.
Yeah, let's get this. Oh,
it's just he makes it look so easy. That's the thing, right? How many times do we see Timo Werner or other players get into positions like that and make it look difficult, make it hard on themselves? And Sonny, he almost does this with his eyes closed, really, it feels like. It's just that natural to him. It's like, it's like just water for him in this situation. It's just so natural.
They always say, Jack, when you're an attacker, when you're coming up to a player and you want to take him on, when you come up to play, you sort of slow it down a little. You do your move, and then you burst away at devastating speed. You speed it up then, when you're approaching devastating speed, and off you go. And that's exactly what he's done here. Look, step, boom, gone, bang. Yeah. It's just the speed. It's how clinical it is. It's how smooth it is. Like I said, I've seen Tottenham players in, years gone by, go to do one step over and they're tripping over the ball, can't pass it 5 yards. And you've got this guy doing that in the space of 1.25 seconds.
Yeah. And no, he just makes it look so natural, doesn't he? It makes it look so easy. Lily White's saying, laugh my ass off. Yeah, I just can't believe that he was given one. Van de Ven. Jesse Payneman saying Kulusevski this season. Yeah, I think Pep Guardiola is starting to lick his lips thinking about that guy. Patty
Get
Power
your hands
saying, Patty Power saying, Andy Madley. Okay, lads. So what's happened there is that Kudus has kicked Van de Ven twice, then slapped him in the face. Then he's gone and slapped another Spurs player in the face too. I'm thinking yellow card.
Uh,
Uh,
do you
Tom
know,
Rennie. Yeah.
I do appreciate them sort of, uh, and I think the head guy was on the overlap speaking about this, that they are trying to bring the bar higher in terms of make the game a little bit more physical and that again. But like that's taking the piss.
Yeah, no, it is. Tom Rennie saying, if someone can explain to me what a Julian Lopetegui team is, I'd appreciate it. This guy, by the way, talks about West Ham on the radio, so I just found that very, very funny. He doesn't even know what his team is doing. Big John Bass saying, so hang on. Kudus kicks Van de Ven, hits him in the face, then hits Richie in the face, and the ref didn't even send him off. Seriously, what the F? Neo saying, Dad, why is my name Guglielmo Deon Van de Romero Heung-min Sarsuma? I wish I could put this in the thumbnail. I almost did. It's also a great meme choice to go with it as well. I do have to speed things
Keep
up
that
though,
one
everybody
bookmarked.
here, because
That
we
one,
do
that
have a
would probably
watch
be a
along.
classic.
Do have a watch along to get to, everybody, and I'm going to put the link in one more time for you guys because we really would appreciate if we could just take the party over there, come and join us, come and laugh with us, come and hang out with us, come and chat with us,
Yeah,
and
so good.
I'm going to try to be a bit more efficient here if I can. Simon Humane saying, "Son can't beat his man 1v1 anymore." No, I guess not. HLTCO saying optics are a strange thing. Prior to their collapse at Brighton before the international break, Spurs had won 5 on the spin, scoring 13 and conceding 3. They fell apart at the Amex, and Ange was called a fraud whose rigidity and refusal to tweak things would be his downfall. Today, they come from behind to win 4-1 with Maddison taken off for Sarr and a purely tactical call at halftime, which was followed by 3 goals in 7 minutes. In reality, they're just a really highly entertaining, energetic front foot side who will have defensive headaches but will win far more games than they lose. I simply don't buy into the view that Postecoglou's career to date in less fashionable leagues means he'll fail to succeed in England. At least he has the courage of his convictions. Very well written, I think, from HLTCO. And there it is, everybody. There's the end of the Twitter reacts. I'm just going to get to the chat here, everybody. Dark Sun G saying, if we had Solanke, we would have beat/drew against Newcastle. I think there were a couple of moments that would have been nice to have someone like Solanke, because I think we tried to play Kulusevski down the middle with, I think, Johnson as well as Odebear, and it just didn't really, kind of meet and sort of sync in the way that it needed to. And I remember Kulusevski kind of struggled in that game, playing more in that sort of striker type role. I think he can play as a striker. I think he can put good performances in there. Just on that day, I don't think it really was maybe the best option for him. And it would have been good to have someone like a Solanke in that game, someone who has that presence to take away players out of the game, occupies the attention of center backs like Dan Burn and guys like that in the back line. And I think he would have been very good to have. And I just think in general, he's just been sort of linking everything together. The attack seems to flow so much better with Dominic Solanke, the way he drops deep, brings others into play. He's just been helping. He's almost just, it's like a piece in the puzzle, Dave, really, Solanke. He's just sort of brought everything together. Even if he doesn't score, you see other people having an easier game because he's in the side.
Look, that's why I wanted Richarlison up front for last season, and that's why I think it was a big miss when he was missing, because we didn't have that physical presence up front that your number 10s can play off, that pull players in, that create for the players, that then leave spaces outside for the players out wide and stuff like that. Now that you've got Big Dom Solanke, he draws bodies into them, he occupies people, which creates a lot of space for other people. It's what Harry Kane used to do. Harry Kane was so good at it. He used to take 2 or 3 people that if he can get the ball into him and lay it off, you've got all that space to go into because he's already done the job. So fair play to Dom Solanke now. And look, when you're playing this well, the goals usually do follow. So hopefully they start coming.
And thank you so much for the support today, Dark Sun G. Hopefully you did enjoy this Twitter reacts, and hopefully you have been enjoying your weekend, and maybe also some Chelsea Liverpool later if we can see you over on the Big Up Network. Would love to have you with us, Dark Sun G. Peter, thank you for the support, my friend. He's gifted a membership out to Just a Harmless Potato, and Peter has been really enjoying, I think, the Kulusevski praise as well. Big up to you, my friend. He's also saying Richarlison back presses like Solanke. like Ange is cooking. He's saying, yeah, having Richarlison back, pressing like Solanke is a like for Ange, and now
Yeah.
Ange is cooking. I completely agree there, Peter. And really good to have you with us. And thank you for gifting out a membership to Just a Harmless Potato. If you can, Just a Harmless Potato, do thank Peter for the generosity and come on and have a chat with us on the fan show if you can this next week. Would really love that. And also take advantage of Peter's generosity. And thank you, Peter, for supporting the channel. He's saying also he's upset about Wolves. Yeah, losing it at the very end there. Looks like Man City were able to get the job done. And he also said Son doesn't abuse his body, so he will be good for another 2 years. I don't think Sonny
Fair
has
point.
really lost that much of a step. Maybe he's lost half a yard of pace, but it doesn't really matter. Yes, he is a guy that likes to use his pace, but he's still good enough where he's not like Timo Werner, who's completely reliant on his pace. I don't think Sonny is as reliant on his pace as other players are, if you get what I mean. He's still a very technically gifted player. And some of the outside the foot passes that he was playing in that game shows that he's still a very technically creative player. Like he can create other chances for other players without needing to use his athleticism or his body. He still has a very good sort of all-around game, to in his repertoire. And I think guys like Timo Werner, maybe like an Adama Traore, these type guys, they are very reliant on, sort of their peak physical attributes. Whereas Sonny, yes, he happens to be a very fast, very speedy player, but he's not absolutely reliant on that like maybe other players are. So I agree with you. I think he still can easily go another 2 years for Spurs. So thank you, Peter, for the support. And also
Great.
thank you to this one saying West Ham get battered everywhere they go. West Ham
West
get
Ham get
battered
battered
everywhere they go. And he's saying, and also they're saying Gooners and the scum lose top. What a weekend to be alive. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Come on, you Spurs. Coys. What a weekend, right, Dave?
Been a great weekend, sister, my youngest sister turned a year older, which means less looking after for me, which is brilliant. Coming out the end of birthday season and family needing me season and stuff like that. Arsenal lost, Spurs battered West Ham, and hopefully we follow up now with a Chelsea loss over on the Big Up Network. And guys, the best thing about it is all you have to do is just click the link that Jack puts in the chat. Brings you straight over. You don't need to make an account. You can just join straight in and follow us over there. So, which I absolutely cannot wait. So let's make it a great weekend and watch Chelsea's demise as well. It'll be absolutely brilliant because if they do lose, they're only 1 point ahead of us in terms of the top 4 race, and we'll make that up very easy over the next few weeks. So come and join us.
Yep, come and join us for that. Thank you so much for the support, by the way. One of our listeners here with the generous support and the donation. Thank you so much for that. Hopefully you've been enjoying the weekend. Arsenal demise, Spurs glory, everything you can need in a weekend, and maybe also some Chelsea misery at some point too. You never know, but really appreciate your support. Great to see West Ham getting battered, and also just great weekend to be alive.
Happy birthday. By the way, to you as well. I know who it is, but I can't say it. But happy birthday. Fair play to you. I didn't know it was your birthday this weekend.
Happy birthday. Enjoy the birthday. And it's been a wonderful birthday for you, definitely this weekend with everything going well football-wise. So definitely love that. And good to see so many other people in the house joining us for this one. Queen Ellie Bergval as well. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the support. Thank you for joining us for this one. We have to go Zoom off, so apologies for our rudeness here and having to wrap things up a bit quicker. We have to Zoom off over to the Big Up Network to join that Chelsea-Liverpool hate-along, so please follow us over there. We'd be really appreciative, and I do mean that. We'd be very appreciative if you guys could join us for that if you have the time, and if you guys want to have a chat, hang out, and just watch a game of football with us like it's the pub, and we really would encourage it and appreciate it. But Dave, am I missing anything?
No, I think that's everything. Thank you very much for giving up your Sunday, coming and joining us. If you want to continue on the vibes and the bants and everything else, follow us over to the Big Up Network, and if not, it's your time tomorrow evening to come on and have your say and bask in the ambience and bask in the glory. So we'll see you then. Until then, see you on the hate along. Let's go.
Great birthday weekend. Absolutely love to hear that, and enjoy it. And hopefully we'll be celebrating throughout this weekend. Come on, you Spurs!
DB,
in the Big Ange we
just
trust.
click that link. DB, just click the link that Jack put in there, and it'll bring you straight across.
Yep, just click the link that I've been putting into the chat there, DB, and we'll see you over there. But come on, you Spurs! In the Big Ange we trust. We never stop. Smash that like button.